Week 20. Day 134, on staying congruent. Immediately prescribe some character and form of conduct to yourself, which you may keep both alone and in company. Epictetus. If there exists a hack for quickly embracing self-discipline as a part of your identity, it's clearly communicating to everyone around you how important this value is for you, and then taking actions that are congruent with that decision. The key is to maintain that behavior both when you are around other people and also when you're alone. We're not talking about faking it in public. The beautiful part is that when others associate you with a certain positive trait, you'll want to maintain it. Think of a child who's considered to be tough by other kids. The next time he or she scrapes his or her knee, will he or she cry or try to remain congruent with his or her public image and walk it off? Obviously, we're adults now, but the basic premise doesn't change. Humans need to stay congruent, particularly around other people. All of my friends know that I'm a bit of a freak when it comes to self-discipline. Okay, not a bit of a freak, I am a freak about that, and consequently, this form of conduct is pretty much forced on me. I don't want to be incongruent with myself, and I don't want other people to think that I'm saying one thing and doing another. For example, if there's a challenge in front of me and I know that my friend is thinking that I'm going to face it instead of quitting, I'll face it, obviously only after I ensure that it's relatively safe. Then, when I'm alone dealing with a self-imposed challenge, I'll be less likely to give up, too. After all, I don't want to lose the respect I have for myself, and most certainly don't want my friends to be disappointed in me upon learning that I'm a different person around them and a different person when I'm by myself. Day 135, on staying in love with your goals. Skipping around from one kind of pursuit to another, grit is about working on something you care about so much that you're willing to stay loyal to it. Not just falling in love, staying in love. Angela Duckworth. It's easy to fall in love, but hard to stay in love, particularly when the waters get rough. It takes constant recommitment, sacrifice, and a willingness to deeply care for what you already have. In a sense, falling in love is like immediate gratification, giving you butterflies and all that jazz without any unpleasantries, while staying in love, although it's rewarding in the long run, is sometimes an act of sacrifice that requires a great deal of self-control. When you set your goals, do you tend to stick to them for the long haul, or do you let the temptation to change things decide for you? If you constantly jump from one thing to another, perhaps you don't care about your goals enough to stay loyal to them. Ask yourself if that's the case, and if so, how you can find new, stronger motivators, or if perhaps you should give up altogether. If it happens with every objective of yours, even when you deeply care about it, like it was for me when I was constantly launching one business after another, it's probably not a question of not caring enough, but about a failure to exert self-control when faced with the shiny object syndrome. The shiny object syndrome is the inability to maintain focus on one thing, mistakenly believing that the grass is greener on the other side. Instead of investing all of your resources in just one thing, for example, a specific relationship, business, diet, etc., you constantly replace the thing you have now with something else, just because it's new and shiny. What you fail to realize, though, is that by constantly upgrading, you never get to build something that lasts, so you fail to achieve your long-term goals. The next time you find yourself researching a new diet, workout plan, business model, way to save money, technique to stay productive, and so on, remind yourself that unless your approach is clearly not working at all, and for that, you need to stick to it in the long term, all you're doing is falling under the spell of instant gratification that will endanger your long-term goal. Day 136, on the desire for happiness replacing the need for self-discipline. Pitching is what makes me happy. I've devoted my life to it. It determines what I eat, when I go to bed, what I do when I'm awake. It determines how I spend my life when I'm not pitching. If it means in the winter I eat cottage cheese instead of chocolate chip cookies in order to keep my weight down, then I eat cottage cheese. I might want those cookies but I won't ever eat them. That might bother some people but it doesn't bother me. I enjoy the cottage cheese. I enjoy it more than I would those cookies because I know it will help me do what makes me happy. Life isn't very heavy for me. I've made up my mind what I want to do. I'm happy when I pitch well, so I only do those things that help me be happy. Tom Seaver. If something makes you extremely happy, the desire to do it as much as you can will replace or at least greatly diminish the need for self-discipline. Obviously, the thing that you love must be good for you. Eating French fries may make you extremely happy, but devoting your life to them won't be a good idea. For example, in my case, one of the things that currently determines many of my choices and replaces the need for self-discipline is rock climbing. It's the #1 reason why I perform hard bodyweight workouts, to be stronger, to climb better, why I maintain low weight, because it's easier to climb if you weigh less, why I constantly expand my comfort zone, because it improves my mental game when I'm climbing, and so on. The thing that makes you happy doesn't have to be a sport, but it does need to have a positive influence on you. If you already have such a big passion in your life, link it to your new resolutions. There's always a way to combine a positive change with an improved ability to engage in your passion. For example, eating better will make you more energetic, which will make you better at everything you're doing, including your passion. So tap into this resource and let your desire to engage in your passion render self-discipline unnecessary. Day 137, on waiting for 10 minutes. For a cooler, wiser brain, institute a mandatory 10-minute wait for any temptation. Kelly McGonigal. Telling yourself that you're going to get something in 10 minutes satisfies your craving for the next 10 minutes. After all, you are getting your reward. You just need to wait 10 minutes. A curious fact is that after 10 minutes, it's likely that you'll no longer remember the craving, or it will have diminished to such a level that you'll be able to handle it. And if not, you can tell yourself yet again that you'll have it in 10 minutes and repeat the process until the urge is gone. If you find the urge overpowering, use the stopwatch and stare at it the entire 10 minutes before succumbing to the temptation. After 10 minutes, even if you still reward yourself, at least you'll have exercised your self-control muscle a little. Note that you can wait for 10 minutes for any temptation in both directions, either by waiting for 10 minutes before you give in to something, or by giving yourself 10 minutes to do something and then allowing yourself to stop. For example, if you're facing the challenge of unpleasant, but necessary and urgent work to do, tell yourself that you'll only do it for 10 minutes and then you can quit. More often than not, you'll continue. And if not, as with waiting for 10 minutes before giving in to a temptation, you'll still have exercised your willpower. Day 138, on nature boosting your focus. Nature, which is filled with intriguing stimuli, modestly grabs attention in a bottom-up fashion, allowing top-down directed attention abilities a chance to replenish. Unlike natural environments, urban environments are filled with stimulation that captures attention dramatically and additionally requires directed attention, for example, to avoid being hit by a car, making them less restorative. Mark G. Berman. Research suggests that spending time in nature regenerates your ability to concentrate. What's interesting is the finding that even viewing pictures of nature can be restorative. If you're struggling to concentrate on an important task and no amount of self-control helps, head out for a walk in a forest or any other non-urban environment. I take regular forest walks at least 3 times a week and consider it pretty much a necessary part of my weekly routine. When you spend your entire days in environments filled with stimulation, your ability to focus will be greatly diminished. Give your mind some time to rest and seek places where you can be by yourself, without blinking signs, crowds, cars, noise, and pollution. If you can't afford or don't have easy access to the wilderness, at least try to spend some time in quasi-natural environments like a city park or even just your own backyard. If even that is not possible, put on your headphones and turn on a video of natural scenery. Day 139, on tolerating an absence of novelty. The use of a distracting service does not, by itself, reduce your brain's ability to focus. It's instead the constant switching from low stimuli/high value activities to high stimuli/low value activities, at the slightest hint of boredom or cognitive challenge, that teaches your mind to never tolerate an absence of novelty. Cal Newport. The ability to thrive in low stimuli environments, such as when working without distractions, is one of the most powerful demonstrations of self-control. Sadly, most people don't possess it, because they have developed a habit of constantly interrupting their focus with low-value, highly stimulating activities, such as browsing social media or shopping online. If you're unable to tolerate an absence of novelty, you'll be unable to focus on anything for long enough to see it through to the end. Therefore, it's key to develop the willpower to resist the temptation to entertain yourself when things get boring or too challenging for your mind. I suggest a simple practice: follow the Pomodoro technique of time management, in which you work for 25 minutes and then give yourself 5 minutes to distract yourself with whatever you want. Once the 5 minutes are up, you have to get back to work, and after 25 minutes more of work, you can yet again let yourself enjoy high stimuli, low-value activities for 5 minutes. The Pomodoro technique works so well because it doesn't force people to exert incredible amounts of willpower. It's only 25 minutes of work, so even if you're usually interrupting work every 10 minutes, you'll only need to wait for 15 minutes more before you can indulge. After following this technique for several weeks or months, you should notice an improvement in the quality of your work. Soon, 25 minutes of highly focused work will no longer be a challenge for you, and you'll greatly strengthen your self-control. Day 140, on longing for paradise. The problem with longing for paradise is that it distracts us from our efforts to extract pleasure and meaning from the present. Gordon Livingston. In the pursuit of success, it's easy to forget that we live in the present moment. The struggle is certainly less attractive than the ultimate reward you're after, but it doesn't mean that you should let the vision distract you from the present. There's a danger in romanticizing the outcome. When you compare this beautiful mental picture to the struggle you're going through now, you may become discouraged because of the painful contrast between what could be and what currently is. By all means, if it inspires you to work, from time to time indulge in the fantasy, but don't forget that the future lies ahead, and it's the present moment you should focus on to ensure that that future actually materializes. Obsessing about the final outcome means robbing yourself of the pleasure and meaning of the powerful, difficult process that you're going through right now. The next time you catch yourself dreaming about the future, refocus on the present moment. Notice the small but positive changes that have occurred, thanks to your struggle. Look at your progress so far, and draw inspiration from your sacrifices and your resolve to keep going, despite all of the hardships.